All right, so tips to help you improve your Muay Thai kick, right? So one of the most common problems that I see is most people when they throw a kick, they impacting with the side of their shin and not on the shin bone itself. Now when you throw a Muay Thai kick, you typically want to turn your hips over so that when your kick lands, your shin hits your target, right? Most people when they throw a Muay Thai kick, when they're beginners, they're hitting like this. They turn their hips over, they pivot their foot, but their impact is still on the side. So a really simple exercise to help with landing with your shin is to throw what's called the seatbelt kick. So you throw your kick, and instead of trying to actually hit your opponent, you just boom, turn your hip and you place your shin across your opponent's waist, just like this. So you go forward kick, boom, and you place it. Now I'm not throwing to impact, I'm not throwing for damage, I'm not throwing for speed. I'm just throwing for accuracy. So I go, so when I see my target, this is my target right here. I go, boom, and I turn it, and now my shin is right on my opponent. So that when I do throw the kick, I go, it's my shin that makes the point of contact. Now, how do you do this? Well, it's really simple. You see, a lot of people when they throw the Muay Thai kick, when they're beginners, they have a habit of, I'm going to show you from this angle. They have a habit of throwing from the outside because they hear the word roundhouse, so they come around, right? So this is what they look like. They come from the outside. Wow, that's not a wrong kick. This huge problem with it is that there's a huge telegraph and it takes a lot of time for that kick to come around. A good kick comes straight down the center. What does that look like? So instead of coming around, you throw your hip forward, kind of the same way you're about to throw a teep or a knee. You come forward, and at the last second, you turn your hip. So you go. Now, not only is that kick faster, not only is that kick more accurate, it's also harder to tell because if I throw from the outside, there's only one kick that can be, and all I gotta do is check it. All I gotta do is, catch it, block it, shelf it, whatever. But when it comes down from the middle, and if your opponent's not gonna be able to tell, is he throwing a knee? Is he throwing a teep? Is he throwing a roundhouse? You don't know. So practice throwing straight forward, and then just placing it at the last second. So it's gonna look like this. This is what the drill is gonna look like. Boom. You take your step to the side like you would for a regular roundhouse. You bring your knee up like you're about to throw a knee, and then just boom. Place. Boom. Right back to your stance. So that's the first thing. Now the second thing I see with a lot of new guys, that's a huge problem, is when they throw a kick, or they throw a punch, when they throw any technique, but specifically for a kick like a roundhouse, because that's going to be the most common kick that you're going to throw, they don't return to their stance. They go like this. They go kick, and then they wobble around all over the place, right? You don't want to do that because every second that you're off balance in a fight, in a spar, or whatever, not only does that drain you of energy, it makes you weaker, and your opponent's just going to spot that opening, and this is going to come in at you, right? You have to return to your stance. Your stance is the single most important thing in a fight. I don't care if you're doing MMA, I don't care if you're doing jiu-jitsu, I don't care if you're doing Muay Thai, I don't care if you're doing boxing. Keeping your stance as strong and solid as possible is the most important thing. It is your foundation of which your house is built on. If I'm fighting like this in Muay Thai, I'm going to get my leg kicked. So I don't want to ever be like this, ever. I want to be nice, square, my hips aim forward, foot halfway back, so that when I throw a kick, I return back, right? I go, and I return back to my stance, right? Because you're not going to land every single kick. If your opponent dodges out the way and your kick misses, you can't be off balance. Go like this. You can't be struggling to get back to your stance. You're gonna throw a kick, boom, right back right to fight, right? So how do you practice this with your kick? It's really simple. I'm gonna use this I'm gonna use a dry erase marker or use a piece of tape. Find something, right? Mark the floor of where your stance is, right? So what I'm gonna do is, this is my opponent, this is my range, boom. Those two X's on the ground is exactly where my perfect stance is. Will you have a perfect stance at all times? No, you're gonna wobble a few times. You're probably gonna cross your leg a few times. But the less you do it, the better, right? So I put my feet right on the X's, right? And when I throw the kick, I go boom, and I look for the X's, and I put my feet back down. So that when I go boom, right back to the stance. Boom, right back to my stance every single time. Now how do you drill this? Like with sprint kicks. So now with a sprint kick, your stance is going to be a little bit closer. So this is my stance right over here. I'm going to mark my X a little bit further. Just about half a foot step forward, right? And I'm going to put my leg here. I'm going to go right back in the X. 2, 3, 4, 5. And I might do that 5 times each side, and then 10 times each side, and then 20 times each side. Now when I'm throwing sprint kicks, I'm not going for power, I'm just going for speed, and that speed is how fast my foot gets to the opponent, and then back to my stance. So this is how it's gonna look. Ooh, so I've got my X's on the ground, I know where they are, and I'm gonna throw my 5-5 sprint kick. And then I do the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then next round I do 10-10, that's 10 each side, 10 the other side. And then I do a 20-20, that's 20 this side, 20 that side. And this should help you guys with a lot of your Muay Thai kicks, especially if you're a beginner, on how to properly drill, the proper technique, how to properly land with your shin, and how to return back to your stance. Let me know if this helps. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and as always, have a good day.